So here is a hybrid presentation. Some people will do the presentation here in person, and they will be complemented by somebody somewhere in the cloud. But this is also a very interesting presentation and project. Go ahead.
Thank you, Nick, for this introduction, and thank you everyone for being here. Today we will introduce the AUTOBarge project. I'm Camilla Domenighini, and today Rana, Saha, which is a colleague of mine, will co-present, and also Professor Slaets from KU Leuven. From all the projects that we've seen today, AUTOBarge is a little different because we are a European training network. What does it mean? It means that the research is carried out by 15 PhDs together with their supervisors. So how a European training network, what a European training network can offer? For the researcher, it offers an increased set of skills and a better chance to get a good employability after the defense, but also to get in touch with the non-academic sector. For the institution, so our host institution, in my case, the University of Antwerp or KU Leuven, it gives the opportunity to enhance cooperation and build a stronger network. For the system in itself, it guarantees mobility of the researcher, trying to attract and retain after talented researchers, and to improve the competitiveness and the growth of the continent. So AUTOBarge is the first ETN on autonomous inland shipping. Who we are, as I told you before, we are 15 PhDs, also known as early stage researcher, guided by 2 academic supervisors each and 1 non-academic supervisors. This guarantees scientific quality, but also the touch with the industry and non-academia. We also have the opportunity to experiment with real-life business cases, having this connection with the industry. The goal is to, of course, train those 15 PhDs, which I'm part of, as a new highly skilled workforce for autonomous inland shipping. But also we have a scientific part, which will be presented a little later, but we are divided in 3 work packages. Here you can see the beneficiaries and the partner organization. We are a consortium made out of 20 partners. 10 are beneficiaries. What is the distinction? Beneficiaries are hosting at least one of the PhDs, while the partner organization are cooperating. They generally host the PhDs during their secondment, so during a couple of months in which they get in contact with the industry. As I was telling you before, AUTOBarge has 6 work packages, and the first 3 are the scientific one. The first 2, work package 1 and work package 2, will be presented by Professor Slaets, and I will come back on work package 3.
Yeah, thank you. So I will talk about the technical part. So here are 3 PhD students. There should be 4 if you look right. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. 3 is gone. But the first one is talking is Yan-Jung Zhang. She is developing an online identification method, so to evaluate your maneuvering model while you're sailing, and then use that in a control. But yeah, she's not going to do that. She's more on the identification part. Then the second one is working in Norway and Trondheim, and he is doing perception. So more specifically, he's working now on using a LiDAR sensor to detect vessels or multiple vessels and also track them. And you get occlusion, and you get sometimes a lot of data, sometimes not that much data of the vessel, and then you have to have a good way to track them. Then the third one, which is not shown here, he will start next month. He's creating dynamic charts. So he wants to update the current charts, the ENC or IENC charts, with dynamic information gathered from the perception sensors and put that into the new map and make a living map than we have today. Then the fourth one here is about collision avoidance. Yeah, it's more about the communication. So what information you need to share between vessels and the shore to get a safe collision avoidance mechanism. Okay, then the next one is ESR 5. That's together with the company Periscal. So here the idea is to put a model predictive control. So it's a controller based on an existing model you have, which could be generated by ESR 1. And then integrate that with the current autopilots on vessels, currently sailing barges today. So yeah, this is something new. It's not been tested yet. This technique has been used for seagoing vessels, but not yet in the inlet context. Then ESR 6 is focusing on collision avoidance. It's using the same MPC algorithm, but then applying it specifically to Colrex compliance. So you have to translate these rules we have in Colrex to mathematical description, which can be used by a controller in a safe and reliable way. Then ESR 7 is working on actually real-time optimization, so continuously optimizing your trajectory based on some multi-objectives, which is not specified yet, but yeah, there can be time will be one of them, cost and so on. But yeah, the challenge here is this real-time part, of course, because it's a complex optimization, which is typically done offline now, today, and she wants to do it online. Then the last two, the first one is also doing planning, so planning the trajectory, but from an energy perspective. So it's more looking at the propulsion. So he needs a good model of the propulsion and needs to put that into his planner, and that way he can predict, it's an offline method here, predict what you can gain by using a different type of propulsion or by changing the trajectory. And then the last one is also, of course, very important. As was already mentioned before, we need a safe system, so we need a way to assess safety when your vessel is sailing. So he's designing a full diagnostic framework, so a way to systematically detect when the system is going wrong, so when there is not agreeing the information you get from your sensors with what you expect, is then communicating this to a control system and then adapting your strategy based on that. We have seen a strategy before where you could go into a fail-safe mode. Here, of course, it's a little bit wider with a little bit more possibilities that are investigated by this PhD student. Okay, that's my part. I give the word to you back.
Yes, so here comes work package 3, where we address the social, legal, economical aspects of autonomous inland shipping. We have also based in Leuven, but in Brugge campus, Junia. She focuses on safety assurance of machine learning models, both in remotely operated and fully autonomous inland vessels. Then we have Rana, based in Sweden, who will talk shortly about their call for collaboration. He works on collaborative decision-making for autonomous inland shipping. Lingyu, instead, she is based in Germany, and she is one of the two economists of our group. She's working on multimodal freight and environmental externalities for autonomous inland shipping. Then the last 3 PhDs of AUTOBarge. Danesh, also an economist, he is working on ship owners' preferences to implement autonomous inland vessel. And then ESR 14, Sophie, and ESR 15, myself, we are the legal part of the project. Sophie is based in France, and she is focusing on regulation. So what needs to be amended, what needs to be changed in order to allow the autonomous barges, which may also imply unmanned barges. And finally, I'm work on risk distribution and liability and contracts for autonomous inland vessels. So this is our team. And here is how AUTOBarge is positioned with NIADE's 3 goals. Of course, as we are a European training project, we have a strong direct impact on creating more attractive jobs. We are creating our own more attractive jobs after the PhD. So we also have a very strong impact on smart waterways, not only because we are working on autonomous vessels, but also because we are working, some of us are working on the communication with the smart infrastructures, so in both ways. Then I would say we have a direct impact towards zero emission, because we have at least 2 PhDs working on energy efficiency, but also because we have Lingyu that's working on the environmental externalities that may come with autonomous vessels. Then we have an indirect impact, I believe, because we are all working for making autonomous, for making waterways transport more reliable and then more competitive. This, of course, will allow the modal shift that we are looking for. And here I let Rana jump in, because all the ESRs from Work Package 3 will aim to work with the stakeholders, also Sophia and I, but later next year, while Rana and other ESRs are looking for participants right now. So Rana, if you can start.
Thank you, Camilla. I believe you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just jump in. It's Rana Saha. Thanks for this opportunity to joining online, and thanks to Nick. And I belongs to Chalmers. As you can see here, we are on Work Package 3, the socio-technical, environmental, and economic and the legal aspects we are covering to enable the inland waterways more smarter, greener, and sustainable. So it's a collaboration call from 3 of us, which will eventually lead from 5 of us who are working in Work Package 3. Here you can see a little bit more in details like what we are doing, what is our research focus on, and our affiliations. So I will not read, of course, everything, but what the aim for this call for collaboration is that we want you as the stakeholder of inland waterways to give your inputs. It's always very important to have more and more inputs to make our solution that we're going to propose end of this project to be useful. So the business case we are proposing should not have any interloop that is not addressed. The same thing that I'm proposing a collaboration decision modeling. And then it's just a theoretical model for the stakeholders. So like how you will communicate as a ship owner with a ship handler. We need to know it when we are introducing more and more autonomy. It's not only autonomous barge, it could be automated lock, autonomous mooring operations, and those, even the hinterland. The nearby port of you, like the port of Rotterdam, have these automated truck now who don't have any driver anymore. So that's we want to get your inputs. Here you can get our research area. So we are identifying the subject matter experts, that's the EU, to define who are the stakeholders and what are your competencies and capacities. And as Camilla was mentioning, 2 of our colleagues, Lingyu and Danish, will look on the economic impact. So they will focus on freight transport modeling and identifying the variables, affecting the adaptation of this solution. Can you please jump on the next slide, please? Oh, so being more precisely, what we want from you The email address will be provided on the last slide. So you just write to us that you are willing to talk. We want inputs from maximum stakeholders so that enrich our findings and the solution we will be providing afterwards. So we will not be collecting any individualistic data. So the companies, inland water transportation companies and the others, they can feel free to come in. We will be collecting mainly the general background of your business, of course, without any identity, and the current level of automation and digitalization, and your visions, and what challenges you are thinking on it, what are the opportunities you can see on it. And from the ship owner response, we would like see like how you want to see your future business. And we will be collecting maybe some data on like what are the cargo volumes and other things your company have now. Can you please jump on next slide, please? So for more precisely to help us on reaching the greener solution more sustainably and effectively, we would like to get your response on online questionnaires, and then together with Logistic Initiative of Hamburg, located in Hamburg, myself and Lingu, the economist, we will be conducting interviews and discussion with you as practically applicable. And then we will also come back to you to disseminate our results. We will also like to see actually the legal aspects on that journey, which will include our other ESRs from work package 3. And the last one, please. So, well, there is no direct cash benefit on you, but for sure, we can help you to design your business. That's for, as you can see that the ESRs here are expected to be scaled to enable autonomous operations and more in inland transportation within EU. It's also aligned with the EU goal to bring more road cargo to the waterways. And then you can get access to our findings and results to embed it with your businesses, to your solutions, and this. And it's actually would be a big, long-lasting relationship with a bunch of people. We 15 who will be working hopefully on this field, and then our other affiliated institutions, they can also be your good contact. So it's just a call for collaboration, as it is titled. And anything, you just have to send an email on the next slide, as it is mentioned, and we will come back with you with the link. Due to GDPR, we are not yet ready to get share the link and those things. That's why you can just have an email, but it will be mostly the online communication and in the face-to-face communication eventually if we get opportunities. It's the end of the presentation of all of our combined slide, and we all three are ready to get questions from you. Please.
Any? Patrick? The microphone is out for lunch. No, it's there.
I guess you're happy to see me, but you don't have to show it. Just one question. Participating as a student, is that open to European citizens or to citizens from all over the world?
For the call of collaboration or the European training network?
No, the training network.
No, from all over the world, yeah.
Okay. Isn't that illogical for a European project? I hear a president in Moscow now laughing a bit because he's very happy.
I don't think so, because as I was mentioning at the beginning, the goal is not only to hire for 3 years the ESRs, but also to retain the talent in the continent. So it has a long-term investment. And also, I think I didn't mention it, but we are funded by the Marie Curie program. And under the Marie Curie, we have a mobility rule. This means that as a researcher, we cannot be hired in a country where we've lived for more than 1 year in the past 3 years before the contract. So, for example, I'm Italian and I'm working in Belgium. My colleague Sophie, she's German and she's working in France. So this contributes to the mobility inside of the European Union.
Anybody else?
There is one question
Okay.
from the online audience. It says, are you interested also in the Danube region?
I can answer from my perspective. I think Sophie, when looking at the regulation, she will also look at the Danube region. Myself, I have 2 case studies, and they are located in the Netherlands and Belgium. So, in my case, I will not look in the Danube region as far as international conventions do not apply.
Rana, do you have a marketing degree? Because the way you launched your call here, it smells like you have a marketing degree.
Sorry, my background is not at all in marketing. I was a marine engineer at sea. I was a sailor around 5 years before I started the journey back in shore. And then I had a master's in maritime management, which you may relate a little bit. And then I worked a little bit in inland transportation company for 2 years before I joined this wonderful team.
So count us in.
Sure.
So
you are all are most welcome.
We'll talk about this offline, on how to do this. Why is this topic interesting? Let's say skills and training in autonomous sailing. Why? Because some people in our industry say, yeah, autonomous sailing, the benefit is autonomous sailing, but there's also a danger. The more autonomous my ship can sail, the more football games I can watch. And then happens. So we have to make sure that these kind of situations are avoided right from the beginning. So that's why I'm so interested in following this project. That's why I'm interested in contributing with you. And Gert, you should be pleased as well, because they are looking at regulations also.